What up? It's your boy Los. When I think they lost their mind podcast. Got your boy Los with you. I got this clown with me today.
It's Lew, baby. I say he's disrespectful, but go ahead, yo.
It's
Go ahead.
episode 10.
Episode 10, baby.
Episode 10, man. How you feeling?
Yo, episode 10, man. It's a monumental moment.
Monumental. We made it to 10.
Yeah.
We made it to episode 10, man.
Did you think we were gonna make it to 10? Be honest. Be honest.
Yeah, I thought we was gonna make it to 10.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't think that we would be as consistent as we are.
So how you thought we were gonna make it to 10? We were gonna be consistent.
Hey, yo, because we could have did it in so many different ways, but we have been consistent where I've been seeing your ugly ass once a week in order to get this audience a good show.
Yeah, I think if you don't see me, I think it throws you off.
Yo, I really didn't want to see you today.
Yo, that's called cap.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really ain't want to see you today.
Why is that?
I just wasn't in the mood to look at that big ass nose.
Yeah. Sometimes, yo, I feel you. Cause sometimes I feel like being bothered by you, bro. I listen. I do not sometimes. Like, yo, this nigga's annoying. But
hey, yo, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about you.
You're annoying.
You like that little fucking brother that be poking.
But I'm older than you. How about a little bit?
Because you little, you small.
I'm pretty sure everybody
only thing big on you is that nose of yours.
I'm pretty sure everybody gonna know that I'm the big one. You're the small one.
Because you talk smooth and you think you keep
I ain't
sweat.
talking all that. I'm just saying. But go ahead and listen though. But that happens in relationships. Sometimes I just don't want to see you.
Yeah,
that's when I don't want to talk to you.
Bothered.
I don't.
Yo, it's like a conversation I was having today. It's like having a baby by somebody and you be like, yo, why did I have a baby by this person? Why do I even want to be around this person? And then the relationship fall off. That's how I look at you.
What are you talking about?
I look at you like,
how you compare having a baby and you talking about relationship with what are you talking about?
Hey, yo, I'm just
saying you be paused.
Hey, yo,
that's pause, bro.
But I'm just putting it out there that you know how you've been in a relationship with somebody and you just can't stand them at times.
Right.
That's how.
So you saying that we are in a relationship?
Yo, we have a friendship, champ.
For sure. I'm just asking a question. Okay, I wouldn't compare it to no baby.
No, I'm just saying because I know sometimes
everything in the world you can talk about.
When you have a baby by somebody, you be like, yo, why is this person still in my life?
Yeah.
It's one of them type things.
Nah, it's one of them things like. But when you look at a person and you like, bitch, you disgust me.
Well, I think it's just speaking of the baby situation. That goes along with one of our hot topics. That's why I brought it up.
Okay, that's a good one.
When it came down to Offset and Cardi B, man, they beefing pretty bad right now. How you feel about that?
I mean, I think it's kind of like we just had the same situation with Pat Pools and Remy Ma. We get right back to the same thing. Since you like having baby by guys, that's what you said.
I would never.
Do not say me.
Right.
Do not
keep
me
moving, man.
In the question. Yo, can we hit the bottom, man? Come on. It's a special.
Listen. Oh, it's a special occasion.
Yeah, it's a special. It's 10 episodes.
We do need to toast up.
Come on,
you know what I mean?
10 episodes.
And pop the bottle. You know what I mean?
Pop the bottle.
Champagne. What they call it? Champagne. What?
What? Keep going. Go ahead.
Neo champagne.
Champagne life. Yeah, nigga, I don't know. You
hey, listen. Hey, yo, but listen. Put it out there, man. Listen, I appreciate you. And this, listen, for 10, man.
For 10.
10 episodes.
10.
Many more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We got a lot more to do.
But listen, we're going to just pop it prematurely. 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We speaking into existence.
Longevity,
Absolutely,
man. I should take this off. Poke you in your eye.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, you got scared.
You're a rookie.
No, if I was a rookie, it would have spilled, champ.
Man, shut up. I swear he a professional pour. Look at him.
You want this one, champ?
I mean, most people who pour give it the cup to the other person.
But you ain't my lady, so what the fuck I gotta give
you
it
just want to have a baby by me. I'm confused. I'm confused. Toast. Episode 10.
Episode 10.
Longevity.
More life.
So, nigga, this ain't no shot. Oh, this all right.
Ain't bad.
Yo, this motherfucker. What's up?
Yo, like that sweet shit. That's one thing about you. Yeah, you like that sweet shit.
But back to the Cardi B and our situation.
Talk to him.
It's unfortunate that I think we back in the same thing again. Black love. Started off as a good thing. Now it's ruined.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, when we speak about that, I think you asked me a question prior to the pod in reference to spousal support. So now, where it is they going through this divorce process, and now Offset is putting out there about the spousal support. How you
Right.
feel about that?
I mean, I feel like that. Why can a man not ask for spousal support? Why I gotta be subjected to women? Because that's basically what you were saying earlier.
No, no, I
You
was
said us men or how we built. Go ahead, I'm feeling. Go ahead.
no. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
this.
that shit hitting on it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So basically, this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say
Pause.
that there's nothing wrong with asking for it, but it has to be a good reason for you to ask for it. A lot of people feel like Offset is asking for it off the strength of knowing about her new relationship with Stephon Diggs,
Okay.
and saying that prior to that he had no he didn't file for spouse support. But
Right.
since she's now in this I wouldn't even call it a relationship. Her and Stephon
Man,
Diggs is
she
doing
just
whatever
fucking.
they
She just
doing.
fucking around,
They doing their
having a good
thing,
time.
but a lot of people feel like Offset has now through salt in the game by asking for spouse support because he feel like he's supposed to get it.
Right.
Now, if he does, I feel like if he have the
Mm-hmm.
kids on several occasions more than her, okay. But it seemed like when he was out doing his thing, she had the kids.
You
What's
don't
the
know if she had.
difference?
You don't know if she had the kids.
I mean, it was several times that she posted that she had her kids more
Okay.
often than usual.
Okay.
Which I have not. Again, I'm not one sided with it. If the guy feel like he needs some spousal support, just be fair about it. If you're doing it, because you're upset, now I feel like that's female traits.
So you saying that a guy can't do what women been doing for years? That's what you telling me?
Speak on it.
I'm just saying. I mean, what's the difference between when a woman deal with an athlete, and also we gotta talk about another allegation I talk about. Women deal with an athlete, she have a baby by them. Next thing you know, she needing money. What's the difference?
It is no difference, but we're speaking about a couple that was married versus a couple that just slept around with each other
All
and
right.
now
So
had a baby.
earlier we speak about the Mary J situation. She was married to him. What's
She
the
was
difference?
married to him. Well, I think it was because from my recollection, he was asking for like support of kids that they didn't create together or certain things that didn't apply to
Okay.
Mary J. Blige's life.
Okay.
So I think it was just pure greed on his part.
Okay. What's the problem with that? If he was once again, if he was used to a lifestyle by being with her, now he's no longer with her. Should he maintain the same lifestyle? I'm not agreeing on either side. I'm just asking from both sides of it. Because we go back from the last episode, male masculinity.
Masculinity.
So is he too masculine? He can't get that.
I'm not saying he can't get that.
Right.
I'm just saying if it was me, I want my own way. I
All
don't
right.
want your way.
Okay.
If, you know what I mean? If the
So what you
reason
telling
why
me is go
listen,
ahead. Go
if
ahead,
the
go ahead.
reason why my lifestyle was because of you, I'm gonna find my own way, champ.
Okay.
That's just me. I'm not
Okay.
gonna, I don't care what you say women do or what they don't do. I'm a
Right.
man.
No, I got
So
you.
therefore I'm
I
gonna
got you.
find my own way versus,
Yeah.
having her pay for
Right.
the life that she built for us.
I mean, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I definitely agree with you. I just wanted to see it from like, I guess we're in a world now is everything is equal, right? Equal for the man, equal for the woman. It shouldn't be no separation based off what a male masculinity is, right? So if it's good for a woman, I think it should be good for a man to a certain standard.
Now, as far as when I say spousal support, I guess I'm a little different because if it comes down to, a house that they were living in,
Mm-hmm.
and or a vehicle that she purchased for them or
Right.
things of that such, I would say, I would want to keep what I have.
Right.
But when it comes down to spousal support, me having to take care of you because of the life that I established for the
Mm-hmm.
both of us, I feel like that's bullshit.
Well, I'll give you a prime example to piggyback off of that. We speak about something different, but it has something to do with relationship. Let's talk about the Zion Williams
Oh yeah.
and the
Oh
young
yeah.
lady who accused him of rape.
Yeah.
What you think about that? And she guess what she wait? She not asking for criminal. She asked for civil. She asked for money.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
Um, I think it's messed up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that if you, I don't think you should be able to pick and choose. I think if you're saying that someone raped you, I think you should have to go criminally in order to get the silver out of it. That makes sense to me. That's just my on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you feel like that this person raped you and you put it out there, not just sue him, do it civilly, but I think that you should bring forth charges, and that should be able to articulate whether the civil lawsuit should be granted.
Right.
That's
I
just where
mean,
I'm at with it.
it's episode 10. They've been together, I guess, almost a year. He was fucking her. I guess now she wants some bread. Would he cut her off?
Yeah, sound like it.
Cut her off. Okay.
Sound like it.
Okay.
So she's finding a way to renege. I mean, she's finding a way
Right.
to um, go back at him,
Right.
or And I think is I mean we have talked about this
Right.
along the last 10 episodes of the podcast of guys being accused
Yeah.
when it comes down to rape or when it comes down to sexual assault allegations
Mm-hmm.
after
Right.
the fact.
Right. Right.
And I feel like I didn't read it didn't come out. The allegations didn't come out. It just was put out there. So I try
Yeah.
not to comment on premature allegations, but I am going to say, I mean, it's the new trend, chat.
Yeah.
It's a new
Yeah.
trend.
Well, here's well, number one, we do not condone rape by all
Not
no
at all.
means.
No sexual
If
assault.
if a woman is a victim of an assault, absolutely to the 10th power, throw him in jail, whoever he may
Yeah,
be.
justice should be
But we
served.
also don't condone foolery, right?
False
Fuckery.
allegation.
Yeah, we don't condone that because something the problem with that is when you throw an allegation out there,
It's stuck with that person.
it taints their reputation.
Absolutely.
And that's associated with their name when you Google that name.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
All the
So
time.
you gotta be careful on both sides of it. You
Mhm.
dig what I'm saying? So moving on. I feel like people need to put some respect on these Olympics athletes' names.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of disrespect going on here. Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
I think people don't like him. I think based off his character, his antics, I think what he's known for is running, but also he's known for remarks, right? NBA championships, they're not champions.
I know. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I think that people don't respect him, but the boy's he's Olympic gold medalist. You know what I'm saying? He got several of them. He broke records.
I thought they only had one.
Nah, he got several of them.
Golds or medals?
Gold medals.
Okay. All right. How many? Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I
I'm
want you to
listening.
look it up while we talk.
Go ahead. But what you think about it? Do you think that he deserved the respect in addition to that?
I mean, listen, you have to give respect to get it back. And I think at times when you make smart remarks or you make smart comments about certain things, you're being disrespectful to whatever culture you're disrespecting. So therefore, I do not feel like you can't demand respect if you're not respecting others. And I think at times even you threw out that NBA comment that he made.
Yeah.
Why speak on this? Yeah,
because he felt like they wasn't world champions.
Well, I think in his mind, a world champion is not a team; it's just that one person. So he worked so hard at his craft.
I think, not to cut you off, you was right though. He got one, bro.
He got one. Right. Yeah, he only got one gold.
His thing was
he got a lot of bronze.
I think his thing,
I mean, which again,
I think his thing was to get into it. Not to cut you off, is when he speak about the world athletes, they don't play the world. He raced against other countries. So his thing was how you're a world champion, but you ain't playing the best players in the world.
So you feel like you're a national champion?
Yeah, you should be, or a local, or whatever case may be, because you're playing in your own region. You ain't going over time. Only time you go play other worlds is the Olympics.
Well, I think it's a little different, and the reason why I'm gonna speak on it, I understand at some point what he's saying, but they are playing players around the world. NBA just don't draft for players just in the United States. A lot of these guys, Giannis, the Joker, a lot of these guys are from different countries. So their competition is not theoretically teams from out of the country, but the individual is very much so individuals that play the game of basketball in the NBA that's drafted from other countries that they playing against. So why can't you be the world champion?
Because they're not playing against the world. That's the NBA.
I mean, they playing against individuals around the world.
Yeah,
what's the difference?
It's not the same as playing against people who are in the Olympics.
So you saying when they're in the Olympics and they playing
like Spain, France?
I know, so if you talking about so you saying that when they win a basketball championship in the Olympics, they call themselves the world champions?
Absolutely, because they are the world champions. They playing against everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to think about this. Look, they go to college and they playing against NBA players, right? They're not playing the best players in that country.
That's not true.
Listen, bro. Hold up, brother. We talking about France is getting its own team for the country, not for the college. So if you're going to Duke, you're going to Duke. Cool. That's the best players in the school.
So a lot of those things are political, champ.
I'm not disputing that.
Because we can sit here and say that some of the guys that didn't make it to the NBA
Right.
is better than some people in the NBA.
That's a fact.
So we can't sit here and say that. That's
Yeah.
that's other
You
people's
can't
opinion.
say that, or you can say that.
I mean, you really can't say that they playing the best people in the United States because some of the best people in the United States just didn't elevate to the NBA level
It could be a number of absolutely. It could
for a
be a
number
number
of
of
reasons.
reasons. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Well,
So I think it's the same difference.
okay. Well, I could agree with you. Disagree.
But for him
Yeah.
having the remarks about it and wanting his own tenant, his own sneaker. I'm sorry. I mean, I think he deserves his own sneaker. I mean, he has represented this country,
Yeah.
by at least winning one gold. Because not to downsize the bronze, having a bronze, shit, I never had one.
No, you had a couple of participation awards though.
I mean, I take the
But
participation
did you
awards
not
at
have
this
some
point.
though? You had some, didn't you?
Participation awards,
Yeah, because you didn't always get in the game, ball. So I'm pretty sure
man.
you got
Listen,
a lot
if
of.
I played the sport, I got in the game.
All right. All right. Go ahead. I'm
If I
listening,
played
bro.
the sport and I got in the game.
I got you.
See, one thing about you one of them guys that you bring up. We've been out of high school for 20 plus, hitting 20 years. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, next year we'll be out of
Yo,
high
damn,
school
we
for
were
20
20 years
years.
next year.
It'll be 20 years next year.
That's crazy.
I'm about to plan my class reunion. So it's actually been 20 years, and you want to bring up shit from 20 years ago.
I ain't bring up nothing for 20
He one of
years
them
ago.
types. In ninth grade, I scored the most touchdowns.
No,
Okay,
no.
where are you right now? Sitting in the fucking sprint event.
Yeah, I said I'll smoke your ass right now though. You personally.
Hey, yo, listen.
Yeah, I'm talking about you. I ain't talking about nobody else in the world. I'm talking about you.
We are fucking almost 40. Who cares?
All right, but I'm not
For
40.
both us to be hurting the next
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah, like last time.
Like last time.
Yeah, it was go there.
God, soaking the tub and some
Take a quarter
bullshit.
Charlie at midnight.
Nah,
Yeah,
I ain't with that.
I still bust it.
Yeah, but what we talking about today, champ?
Man, yo, listen, we're gonna put it back off episode 9, but we're gonna put a little spin on
Put a
it.
little spin on it.
It's how we got like that.
Okay,
What
okay.
caused it, right?
So we talking about childhood trauma
And upbringing.
and upbringing.
Right.
Okay,
The
okay.
good, and the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. So
You know
let's
what I
talk
mean?
about it, man. Let's talk about your childhood. How great was your childhood?
I'm gonna be honest with you, King. I think, it was, it had its challenges, bro.
Okay.
It
Talk about it.
had its challenges. Had its challenges. It wasn't always pieces of cream, for sure. It wasn't. I come from a 2-parent household, but the function of it wasn't the best function. Right. I had me, my sister, my mom and dad. We all had the same mom and dad. I also have a second sister, but she had a different father. So she wasn't really with us that much. She was there for a little bit, but then she went off and she did her own thing. And then coming from a 2-parent household that my parents had a drug addiction for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So navigating that was tough, right? Because anybody know people who have an addiction, it takes away from a lot of other things, even though they may be function addicts, right? But when you have an addiction, you need something to fix it, right? You need something to heal it. So we didn't always travel, we didn't always go places, we didn't live in the best of houses. We always had a home, but it wasn't the funny structure that I yearn for. I'm grateful for, but I yearn for. So some structures and some things I may need to learn at an early age. I didn't learn until I got older, which is sometimes finances, how to manage money. All right, so I come from a household that managing money wasn't never taught to you. Outside of working, entrepreneurship wasn't taught you. Investing, right? Just the small things that some people are blessed to have, right? That I wasn't. But yeah, we had our good parts where my dad provided. He was a worker. It's one thing I can't deny. He was a worker. So he made sure we had the essentials, a house. We always had fresh shoes. Always. Sometimes we had food in the house. Sometimes we didn't. You know what I mean? Sometimes he will make a way for us, right? So I think that putting back from episode 9, there's a lot of childhood trauma that I had to unlearn. And one of them was navigating the relationship with my mom, who I loved her to death, but wasn't the type of woman I would want to be with when I got older. And I had to understand why. Because to me, man, women are so special, and they're powerful. So where you weak, she should be strong, and vice versa. If we both had an addiction, we're both in the same place. So one can't help the other because we stuck.
Oh, I get
So
it.
when my dad would go get clean, he would come back. And that's why, you start listening to what people tell you, because he would make broken promises. This time gonna be different. I hear you. I hear
Mm-hmm.
you, King. Yeah, I hear you. But then right back to the same program. Then she will go get claimed, come on back. And then cycle repeat for so long. So that's why I think as a child, your imagination is the best thing you have. You should never stop imagining
Mm-hmm.
because we
I like
always
that.
imagine what our life would be like if it could be different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
cool.
I think that childhood had this thing, and we'll get further into it. But tell me about yours.
Um, man, I came from a two-parent household
Yeah.
for the most part, especially once I think my parents got back together maybe 98, 97. So and then they got married in 2000. Matter of fact, shout out to them. Their 25th year anniversary is here in July that we're celebrating.
Okay.
But so my life was just a little different. One thing I say about my parents when it came down to drugs, alcohol, smoking, they didn't do it
Right.
right. So I probably saw a handful of times my father having maybe a beer.
Yeah.
And when it came down to my mom, a handful of times of her having a cooler.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen neither one of them smoke at all.
Mm-hmm.
No cigarette, no weed, not even a cigar.
Right.
And I think, just seeing from that, what I mean, I think my father, just a little quick story on, I think the reason why he wasn't too big on alcohol because my grandfather was an alcoholic.
Okay. His father.
His father,
Gotcha.
right? So his father was an alcoholic, and I think, and that's a story for him to tell, but it was a lot of things that transpired from his father's addiction to
Mm-hmm.
alcohol. So therefore, I think he saw that and didn't want it for himself. So that's why he, never really drank. But when it came down to my household, again, the reason why I feel like, in certain moments I act the way I act is being so hard because my mother was a tough cookie.
Mm.
Always been.
Damn, Los.
Yeah. See, this is not even sturdy enough. But my mom was a tough cookie,
Yeah.
and she has always been a tough cookie. I've always, just been so hard. And
Right.
I think the reason being because, again, that's her story to tell. But I think her upbringing in certain ways, she felt like she was mistreated,
Mm.
with her, grandparents on father's side and her mother's side. She would
Right. Right.
speak about, certain times that she was mistreated. So I think she had that wall up for so long to where it trickled down to her kids. She was a loving mother. My mother was a grinder. She was a sacrificer. Even before my dad always was a provider,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
Whether he was at the home or not, he was always provider. Always kept us fresh and things of that such. But my mom was always, had to get us to school. Prior to dad coming back, mom had to get us to school. My mother didn't always have a vehicle.
Okay.
She didn't always. She got a license once we became teenagers.
All right. Right. Right.
So therefore, catching a bus with us, picking us up on late night when she worked Francis Scott Key. So she was always, there and willing, like with
Mm.
no excuses. It
Yeah.
was just always just her and her three kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when my father, her and my father got back together, even though he was a provider financially, he just wasn't the day to day dad that I experienced once they got back together. So my father a lot of times would just pick up me and my sister up on the weekends on those Fridays, pick us up on Friday and drop us back off. I mean, drop us off to our grandmother's house and come back and pick us up on a
Mm.
Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore I
So did
think
he
it
spend
was
time with y'all? I mean,
and in some ways, he'll take us to Chuck E. Cheese from time to time, do certain things with me and my sister from time to
mm-hmm.
time, but it wasn't every weekend,
Okay.
right? So, again, my grandmother more so,
Yeah.
on the weekend, she was,
Yeah.
while my dad was doing his
What
thing
did
running the
that?
streets.
Did that bother you though?
Um,
As a child, did it bother you?
I don't think it bothered me at that time. So at
Okay.
that time, it really didn't bother me because I was just about fun. I
Right.
was a
Right. Right.
kid that was
Right.
about fun.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
leaving from my mother house, going to a
Yeah.
different environment to my
Right.
grandmother's house on the bricks.
Right. Right.
All
Well,
my
let's,
friends.
let's just go back a little bit though. So how long? So what age did your dad live with you? Then he stopped living. Then he came back. Like what age was that,
So
bro?
I don't recall my dad living with me. I mean, obviously when I was younger, he was around,
Uh,
and he always had this little joke and say I was the one that got the family back
yeah.
because I
Yeah.
believe
You,
him and my mom was on the outs, and then she was pregnant. She got pregnant with me, so they was on the outs.
Yeah.
And she got pregnant with me, so that's what
Yeah.
kind of brought them together.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, they was together just for that short amount of time, and then he was doing his
So
thing.
did it bother you that he didn't live with you?
Um, Again, I liked a different environment, so it didn't.
Okay.
Right, so
Okay.
I was a kid that liked a different environment. So
Okay.
once he introduced us to his
Right.
girlfriend, I like going over their house.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
like going over their house and just enjoying the different scenery.
Right.
So I don't think I was losing out. Only thing I
Yeah.
was losing out with was the fact that when he would drop us off at our grandmother's house, yeah, he bought us bikes and everything. So we had fun. But the only thing about that is he wasn't there at all times.
Mm. Mm.
Again, he'll drop us off on
Yeah.
Fridays, come back and pick us up on Sundays,
Yeah.
and do little outings, Chuck E. Cheese here and there. But he just wasn't really around until, like I said, him and my mom got back together probably about 97,
How
98.
old was you around that time?
I probably
Oh,
was
you was
about
young. You was
eight,
young. Yeah, you was
7,
young.
8.
Yeah, you was young.
And then once they got back together, and we were living in, it was all us in the household, and my dad spent more time. Yeah, he worked like 5 to 12, so certain things he couldn't do, but anywhere I needed to go, me and my friends wanted to go skating. My dad was the dad, around the way dad for all my friends.
Right.
So it felt good. A lot of my guys, they didn't have their father. So therefore, my father would always, even though he was late at times, picking us up from the skating rink,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Or, taking us to the movies and things
Yeah.
of that such. So I felt like my dad made up for that time that he
Right.
kind of lost from me going over my grandma's house on the weekends. He made up for it when he came and moved back in. And, me and my dad was real. Al Bond was playing the game.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So we was big on,
Mm.
Madden.
Okay. Mad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
for
was
sure.
big on Madden or
Mm.
whatever. So me and my dad would play the game all day, every day on
Mm.
Madden.
Yo, listen, I want episode 10 to be about like I said, this is episode 10.
Damn,
Right?
I spilled my shit. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
it should be a little bit in there though. And I, I really want them to. We probably gonna limit the jokes on this one, right? I really want them to really hone in on um how you can have trauma, and as you get older, you realize you really have it, and how to navigate that and deal with it moving forward. Well, you clumsy, you don't even put it like that, but you like
Nah, but go ahead.
how to navigate that because we both had upbringings, was good, bad, and some was ugly. And some people may be going through that now. They may watch the podcast and may realize how it is to navigate something as my situation with parents who have an addiction and how hard that could be on the kid, right? Or whatever different things you had with yourself and how you navigate that, how you became who you are today, and how even now we still working on who we are. We realize certain things that bother us and how to realize where they come from, what was the trigger, and how to fix it moving forward. Right. So I want to tell the great stories about the about our upbringing, but I also I also want to be transparent.
Yeah,
Right. Because I want them to learn from our trauma and know for them to know that we're learning from our own trauma. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning from yours and vice versa. So I want that to be honed in. But I'll say this to you. Like we used to go to my grandmother's house with my sister and we used to go outside. I'm pretty sure every kid did this. You would see the cars coming past. You'd be like, that's my car. Well, that's my car.
Yep.
Well, that's my car. Not knowing that we played a game, but we were manifesting the future.
Right.
Because I knew that like, yo, this can't be life, bro. Like this can't be what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like we went to different schools and like when you've been dealing with people who did drugs for so long, you see the signs. Like I knew if I came downstairs and my mother was cleaning up and her butt crack was hanging out, she was high. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and then one of the things too is, it's definitely got. One of the things too is, bro, like, I always had like a new cousin or uncle. Cause when you get high, it's a community. Let's be real, it's a community. You know what I'm saying? So she would get high, they would get high. It would be a person I'd never seen before. And that shit used to eat at me. I used to hate that shit because I was protective of my mom. At the same time, I was just like, I don't know this nigga. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why as I got older, I was just like, bro, I never really want to date a woman that reminds me of my mother. Bro. Absolutely not. Nothing like it. You know what I mean? So because of that trauma, right? And as I got older, as I was a little younger, the problems you don't deal with is the ones that haunt you the most.
Right.
So that's why I'm real big on having conversation with things that bother me, whether she listen or not. It's for me to get it off my chest, so she can hear my perspective of where I'm coming from. And I did that, right? Was she very receptive to it years ago? I don't know, bro. I don't think so. But I'm okay with that because I had to get that
Had to get it
monkey off my
off you.
back. Yeah,
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 for sure. Because I didn't want to carry that burden. You know what I mean? And sometimes we carry burdens to protect other people. You know what I mean? But I don't want to protect somebody in the process of hurting me. You
absolutely.
know what I
I
mean?
agree.
So one of the most important things, and we speak about it a lot, which is self love. I know we had a conversation and we were talking about what's the pecking order of how you show love. Like
Hmm.
I would ask you, so what's your structure? Is it you got who come first? You got God, you got your wife. What's your order?
Oh, it's definitely God. God's first in my
Okay, who's
household.
second?
My wife.
See, see, and I respect it, but I put me second. I wouldn't put anybody second before me. And the reason being is not for to be selfish, but yes to be selfish. But if I'm not the best version of who I am, bro,
You won't be able to.
how
I
can I
get it.
ever be the best version for them?
I get
You
it.
know what I mean? So that's how I put myself first all the time because I know when I'm operating in my best space, I might be the best for everybody else.
Well, see, the thing about it is when you ask that question,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about keeping me out of it, right?
Okay.
So I understand you have to include you,
Yeah.
but we're speaking about me. So therefore, I
Hmm.
feel like there's no reason to include me in that. So that's why I do it that way. And as far as we even asked for about the plate. Do you think that your wife should feed your son first or feed you?
Oh, me first.
Yeah,
1,000%.
yeah,
But here's the question though. So let's go back. So here's the thing though. When you say you're the story is about you, so you still have to be the private. The story is about you,
yeah.
whether the or it's still about you.
But I'm altering the story though.
Okay.
So the story's about me. I'm writing the story. I'm the writer, right?
Could I
So
ask you a
so
question? When you
what
read a book, when do you see the author name?
at the beginning
Okay then.
because they explain the biography of them.
Okay.
Okay,
The book of Los.
yeah.
What are you talking about?
But the book entails Los. So therefore, I felt like there's no need to put me first when everything that I'm gonna put in that book
Hmm.
is gonna be resulted around me.
Okay. Okay.
It's not gonna be able to function without me writing a book, right? It won't be a book if I don't write it about me,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. For
So
sure.
therefore,
For sure.
I'm the author of the book.
I got you. I got
There's
you.
no reason for me to put myself in it
Yeah. Well,
because it's already written
and you're
about me.
not wrong, right? It's all about perspective, right? So that's your perspective of it, and mine is how I look at it as well. Because I know at times we can become get getting back to the childhood stuff. I know that time we can be poured into. We can become empty, exhausted, right? Feel like you're being so many poured in different directions. Like, and we spoke about where your mental health is, where your space is, and things like that. So that's why I said for me. But back to the what I'm saying to you about the childhood is yo, I think sometimes for the black community, bro, we grow up and sometimes things can be some people don't understand things can be tough, bro, realistically. And then you may not even know that you got trauma, bro. You don't
Yeah,
know.
and I think that we don't realize it until we get older. And I think our new generation or the new way of life
Hmm.
has been mental health, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
that has been a big thing within the black community, especially mental health,
Yeah,
right? And I think our parents even look beyond that to where, boy, there's nothing wrong with you,
right.
pick it up and keep it moving.
Yeah,
And I think that's why sometimes even our parents to this day is still dealing with trauma
yeah,
because they never resolved it.
yeah.
They never understood the resource that they had. And I think now
But did
we
he
have
have
so many.
resources? The question, did he have any?
That's what I'm saying. I think now we
Yeah.
have so many resources where it's not a bad thing going to a therapist these days.
I think that here's the thing I say to you though. You gotta think about this too though. When we speak about our parents, we gotta remember we were young and they probably was our age
Mm-hmm.
with no direction.
No
You know what
direction.
I'm saying? So one of the things is how, as we spoke about in episode 9, male masculinity. So when my dad, my age, your dad, his age, how do you deal with that when you're taught male masculinity? We don't show weakness. You can't get earrings. You can't do this. You can't do that. How are you supposed to learn that as you get older when you're stuck in your ways, right? It's sometimes hard to teach a person who don't want to be taught and if they're comfortable a new direction.
Right.
What truly bothers someone because healing can be uncomfortable and scary.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of times, even now, our parents probably wouldn't even want to
Yeah.
dig deep into what has hurt them in the past because you again when if you bring that up, it opens up new things
Hmm.
where you don't know how you're gonna react towards it.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to, I feel like my parents, again, they did what they could do for us.
Uh,
They always tried to give us as much as possible, but I also felt like certain things that we were missing, and I spoke about it in the last episode as far as the affectionate, right, being affectionate towards us. I just don't feel like we had that enough, and
mhm.
that's why certain things that I live with now or that I deal with now, it changes things. They were loving parents.
Yeah.
They loved on us, but
Yeah.
they loved on us in a different way
Mm.
of how I think, myself and my brother and my sister could contest to certain things we missed. You know what
Like,
I'm saying? So
like
we
what?
missed out of it. I mean, it's just like I said, the hugs, um the I love you, the I love yous, and just just being in that setting of vulnerability.
Mm.
So I don't think it was that time that we had that.
Mm.
Like, to be honest with you, man, like things I tried to do with my kids,
Mm.
we didn't really necessarily have so much family time, right?
Nah, for
Where all
sure.
of us in one
Yeah.
room and one
Yeah.
setting,
Yeah.
watching a
Yeah.
movie, just being present, being
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
We really didn't do that. Me and my dad had our own relationship, had our
Mm.
own bond where we'd go down the basement and play
Madden.
football all
Yeah.
night
Yeah.
on Madden, you know,
Mm.
it just wasn't a family thing. Me and my sister, once we came in our teenage years, we used to date together with her boyfriend and my girlfriend back in the day.
Right.
We used to go to Fridays together, go to the movies together, and our dad would come pick us up, and he'll
Mm.
be our Uber
Mm.
at the time. So it was things that we did separate, but us as a family,
Right.
we never really did too much. Like, even if we were going out to eat, my father and my mom they used to go to Aruba every year back in September, and they would go to Aruba every year, and it was a spot called Tony Roma's that they used to go to, and when if we as a family we would go to Tony Roma's together,
Okay.
or we might go to Moe's together,
Mm.
but we would try to that would be our experience. But as far as being in the household, it was like everybody went in their separate directions.
Yeah.
My mother had the phone to her ear all night. I mean, all day. You know what I'm saying? Me and my
Yeah.
dad, was on a football game when he wasn't, doing certain things.
Right.
My brother was always in his own world, hanging with his friends,
Right.
doing his thing. And
Right.
my sister, kind of was in her room. She was more so she was a homebody, and
Mm.
she just kind of just stayed to herself.
Mm.
So it just wasn't never that all us together as one being in the same household.
Right. Right. Let me ask you something, King. I hear you. You're the youngest.
I'm the youngest
Um,
out of my parents' biological kids. Yes.
being the youngest, right? And I'm the youngest too. You ever felt left out?
Um, I'm not gonna say I felt left out.
Okay.
Because like I said, my dad showed me a lot of attention.
Okay.
And I was the kid that played the sports and everything.
Mm.
So that's where my point of it all feeling left out. My dad tried to make games
Mm.
that he could make, and he probably could count on two hands how many games he could make
Mm.
after rec. As far as high school, because he was working 4 to 12
Yeah.
shift,
Okay.
Monday through Friday. So high school games mostly was on
Yeah.
Friday nights or Thursday nights.
Yeah.
If you was in JV on varsity, it was Fridays. So he missed a lot of that time.
Yeah.
Sports, with that.
Mm.
I remember my brother showing up to one game against Orange Mills, and I think I had a good game.
Yeah.
Quarter
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
It was probably about a 40 or 50 yard pass or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are things that I wish that's where I felt lonely at, because it was just like what I wanted to do as far as track, as far as football, because those are two sports I played.
Mm.
My parents wasn't on the side cheering, right?
Mm.
I think my mother may have came to one of my rec games.
Mm.
Never came to none of my high school games. None. Never came to none of my track meets. And those are things that I felt like it was dear to me,
Mm.
and they lost out on it. And I
Right. Right.
felt like I always had my friends' family cheering
Yeah.
for me, and the whole nine. But when it came down to my family, they didn't support me in that field.
No, I can contest to that too myself because when I played sport, my dad didn't really come to a lot of my games or my mom. You feel what I'm saying? And I think it did take a toll on me a little bit because I think like one of the most important thing is you want to make your parents and your dad, especially being a
Proud.
boy, proud. Like you want to see us like there you see I'm out there doing my
Yep,
thing.
yep, yep,
They can't
yep,
handle me.
yep.
So I think it was one of the things that he really didn't come to none of my games. So he really didn't know how good I was.
Mm-hmm.
But one of his coworkers did and will always come back and tell him how good I was, which felt good, but it wasn't like that.
It wasn't the
You know what
direct
I'm saying? I
feeling.
think
Yeah.
as a kid, I think like for me having a son, I wanted that feeling. I ain't never get it. You know what I mean?
And that
Now I never got it.
yeah, and that's why I'm so big on,
Yeah,
my kids are in track.
yeah,
My daughter doing well in track.
yeah,
My son was doing
yeah,
track, and my other daughters they in dance.
yeah.
And when it come down to my son, he in
Right.
football. So that's why I always try to make sure I'm present,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I knew the feeling of
Mm-hmm.
looking to that sideline
Mm-hmm.
and not seeing your parents.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I think in addition to that, I think that's what made me. You said something earlier, but I'm a add to it. It made me a very private person, and it made me a very loner.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy being in my own space,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I'm used to that.
Right.
So when you were speaking about the family structure, sometimes for me, and you know this for years, I ain't really the big family guy like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I don't do the like the coming over the houses and all that, bro. Not that.
Yeah.
Me and E was talking about it today because I don't come from that.
Yeah.
That shit makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm being realistic to you, bro.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable because I'm not used to that. Like when my dad and my mom, when I ninth grade, I moved with my aunt. It was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me. Um, and she really took care of me, right? Really guided me into the direction I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate her for that. But I think that when she used to have family with her kids and her daughters would come home for Christmas and holidays, well, I would stay upstairs.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I just felt uncomfortable. I just felt like that wasn't my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It made
Wow.
me extremely uncomfortable, bro.
Yeah.
I would stay in my room.
Yeah, see, when it came down to holidays, my parents always been big on like having cookouts at the house. My grandmother would always have cookouts, or we always fellowship with the family, and that was on both sides of my
Yeah.
family. My grandmother, that's why I'm so big in the cards. My grandmother, my dad's mom and dad, they would have card night over their house
Hmm.
every Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
So they were playing cards downstairs.
Yeah.
So me and my sister upstairs and my cousin,
Yeah.
but we kind of until they tell us to take our ass
Hmm.
upstairs, we kind of would be downstairs watching that.
Hmm.
So I'm real big on the invite of people coming over, right? Because I feel like that's what make my home a home.
Hmm.
Because I want everybody else to feel the same way.
Hmm.
So sometimes me being in my house being bored, like even having a pool, right? I got the pool cool, but I don't really get in the pool, right? I get in the pool when I got family over, or I
Yeah.
got friends
Yeah.
over,
Yeah.
because it make me feel better of what
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
versus me just getting in it by myself. It's boring,
Yeah. Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
even when you came over last year, you came
Man, with me and
and,
you?
and man, you were just in the
Yeah.
pool
Yeah. Yeah.
vibing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
tripping,
Yeah. For
you
sure.
know
For
what I mean,
sure.
joking and all that. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I want more of that, and I
Yeah.
always say like I like entertaining,
Yeah.
and that's
For a
because like I
fact.
said, my parents they would have cookouts. My grandmother, we would go over my grandma's house. To this day,
Yeah.
still have cookouts.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do enjoy that, and I felt like that was the times that I loved
Hmm.
about family,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
why I've always wanted. I didn't necessarily want a big family how I have it now,
Right. Right.
but that's why I always enjoy being around family because it was just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you think in your lifetime what was your hardest thing that you had to experience as a child?
Um. I think to be honest, it's quite a few moments, bro. To be honest with you, I think a couple of them. I think one was coming home from elementary school. This was when we lived on Town to Cold Spring, and coming home and all our shit outside.
Mm,
I mean, like all our shit. You know what I'm saying? That shit was like, damn, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened? I think that was one. I think two was when I had to move my aunt. It was me, my dad, my sister, and all my aunts. And I sat there and this is when we got put out. And I sat there and I listened, to them, kind of in a sense ridiculed him for I guess the situation. And to me personally, I felt sorry for him. That shit was hurtful. Um, but I understood, the situation had to happen. You know what I'm saying? My dad, like I said, he was a phenomenal person. Still is, bro. Very good person. He just see what happens is, and I'll make a long story short, is when he was younger, he had sisters. And my grandmother, which is his mother, she made the women strong. And in return, she enabled the boys. Because the women did everything for the boys. So as they got older, that's why they couldn't manage money. They had an addiction. All the brothers got high. None of the sisters got high, bro. All the brothers would live with the sisters.
Mm.
That's called a cycle that never got broken because they was taught that, right? So that's why when I told myself when I got older, I'll never be like them. You know what I mean? He happened to fend off a woman. But I understood, he was, that's what he knew,
Right.
right? So I think that was one. And just the whole process of dealing with parents who has an addiction. That shit is tough. You know what I mean? Especially on a young child because you don't understand.
Right.
And the embarrassment that comes with that. Because that was the time my mother would come on school, bro. I would disown her. I would say, ain't my mother. That's my aunt. You know what I'm saying? Because I was embarrassed, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, why me, bro? You know what I'm saying? And then that shit wasn't how a child should experience. But I think it's one of the lessons that taught me to not go near that. Right? That's why I never really did drugs. I guess you could say it's why I became a cop, but not knowing that. But those were some of the pitfalls. But I'm gonna get to you though.
Give a quick shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by LL13 Fitness and Heartbeat Security, two powerhouses moving with purpose. LL13 Fitness is where dedication meets results. Mind right, body tight, and remember, we got work to do. And Heartbeat Security, they are not just watching doors, they are protecting dreams. Real presence, real protection. Trust a brand that do more than this talk. They deliver. The Instagram page for LL13 Fitness is at LL13 Fitness. The website, LL13fitness.com. The telephone number, 443-676-5882. And Heartbeat Security. Instagram, at Heartbeat Security. Email address, HRTBTSCRT@gmail.com. For one more time, HRTBTSCRT@gmail.com. And the telephone number is 443-676-5882. Let's get right back to the pod.
We're gonna be transparent because you on that bullshit, and I ain't in the mood for that bullshit today.
Go ahead and talk to me.
Nah, realistically though, bro, honestly, what was some of your biggest pivots as a child? Sure, boy,
I mean, when you say biggest pivots, what you speaking about?
I mean, what I say about what I mean by that is like, okay, I'm asking, I come back to that. What was some of the things, some of your toughest moments as a child that you still reflect on to this day that really truly bothered you? Right, whatever it could have been, big or small.
Again, like I said, just the parents being supportive and the football, and the sports on me. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't have too much that I can kind of zone in on to say that to really say that it bothered me. Besides, like I said, being affectionate and things of that such. I really don't, I really don't think it's nothing.
So not hearing that your mother tell you she loved you consistently doesn't bother you.
Well, I think I kind of was cool with her substitute of the be careful.
Okay.
So I didn't understand how I wasn't as affectionate until I got older, where I say, okay, these are the reasons, or this is the reason.
Okay.
I can honestly say when it came out of my big brother, I wanted to be more a part of him, right? So I wanted to hang with him so much more than what we had, when I was younger, right? So when I was younger, me and my brother are 4 years apart, and I really looked up to my brother, man. I looked up to my brother,
Shout out
and
to Curtis, baby.
yeah, I looked up to my brother, and I felt like I just always want to be like him. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I
yeah,
always want to be like him, and sometimes I felt like I got gypped of that because my brother was, older than me, and it was one of them. I don't want my annoying little brother with me.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying? And I think it wasn't until I became a cop to where I really experienced my brother wanting me to be around him or wanting to, you know, be there, that brotherly love with me. But I think like prior to that, when I was a kid, of course we lived in the same household,
mhm,
up until we moved. I think we slept in the same room.
yeah,
But at the same time, I was just more so, I guess, to him, I was that annoying little brother where, what I mean, he really ain't want to be around me.
yeah, yeah,
You get what
yeah,
I'm saying? Which
yeah.
I had my own friends and things of that such or whatever, but we just wasn't on the same level. So at times I do wish that big brother role was. That's why when he showed up to my game, when he was out of school then,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was in like 11th grade
Mhm,
or maybe 12th grade. I was in 12th grade of high school. My brother was in college,
mhm.
and when he showed up to my game, man, I had
That shit was
to
everything.
what I had
Yeah,
to show him
yeah,
like this
yeah,
is this what
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean. So it was just one of those things. And my brother was always smart, man.
yeah,
He
yeah,
he went to City College. He would take me to
mhm,
like their shadow day at City, and
yeah,
I want to be like my brother. Like
yeah, yeah,
I want to go to City.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I
yeah,
wanted to rap. Like he used to rap. I wanted to rap like him.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it was like he was my idol,
yeah,
and I felt like sometimes I wish he would have reached back in
yeah,
and kind of string me along.
yeah,
But it was times that I was able to go like to the studio with them
yeah,
and
yeah,
things of that such. But I just felt like
yeah,
I wish our bond at that time
yeah,
would have been more so like you my little brother, I'm your big brother,
yeah,
and take on that, took
yeah,
on that role. But I think he just had his other things going on. He just was like, yo, I'm doing what I'm doing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
therefore I would get left behind a lot of times.
It's it's funny you say that. We share similar stories in a sense. And I'll get to that in a second. But two questions though. Um, did that hurt you? Did that bother you?
Oh yeah, it hurted me for years, man. Even when he left my mother house, and
Yeah,
my brother always, like I say, very smart
yeah,
individual, man.
yeah.
So he went to college and everything, and I mean he actually went to college where he
Mhm.
stayed home. He went to Morgan.
Okay, okay.
But he was just always like my brother was like on his
He was
he would stay
focused. Yeah, he
focused.
was focused.
So he
Focused.
had
Focused.
things that he had to
Yeah.
accomplish, and now I understood that. But now, like even us now, I try to talk to my brother at least once or twice a week,
Okay.
and me and my brother bond became with football with the
Yeah,
Ravens.
yeah, yeah.
So us hanging out, we do our traveling to games, traveling to away games and everything together. Or even last year, I had the opportunity to buy seats right next to him.
Okay.
So that's just how our bond is, and I
Yeah.
think is even better than what it was
Yeah.
because we found something that show interest in it.
Mm.
We show interest together. My brother really wasn't a sports guy for a long time.
Yeah.
So he really didn't have interest in football. He didn't
Mhm.
have interest in basketball. He had other things he had interest
Right.
in.
Right. Right.
So therefore, we wasn't kind of like one and the same.
Yeah.
But then once I saw that he liked certain things I like and I like certain things he liked,
Yeah.
or we are kind of the same in our own way, that's when our bond became better.
Mhm.
And I mean it's still a work in progress, you know what I mean? Because is at times even with my siblings, like my sister. I love my
Yeah.
sister
Yeah.
dearly, but we don't talk as often. You get what
Um.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
we don't talk every day. Of course I see her at family functions, or if I stop past Mom Duke's house and Pop's house, she over there. We show love to each other and the whole nine. But I just wish our bond again, instead of that separate bond. Of course, you could have a separate bond
mm,
with your siblings, but I just wish we were closer because I know some families and some siblings that's just so close they can't live without each other,
yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like doing things with their partners together.
Mhm.
We have never done that. I mean, I think we have never grown up. Our relationship has never been a grown relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is always a relationship because of my mother or because of my father, because we're a parent they're our parents. You know what I mean?
So, man, man, it's funny you say that, man. Listen, one of the things while I appreciate you saying, I got more questions for you and myself though. One of the things, now, realistically, because this podcast is so important, not because we telling stories, but sometimes we telling our version,
Yeah.
how we feel. You
Yep.
know what I mean? So when y'all watch this podcast, whoever watch the podcast, all we telling you is our perspective.
Right.
Whether it offends you or bothers you, that's not the intention.
Right.
I'm just telling you how I feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll ask you some questions. I'll come back to that, but I'll add to yours because I kind of felt the same way with my sister, bro. To be realistic to you, same thing, bro. I looked into my sister too. See, I wanted a brother, I never had one. I told you that, right? So my sister was like my brother. Bro, she was nice in basketball, yo. And man, I always was like, that's Dale little brother. And for a while, it felt good. But then I felt like there was what I yearned, I never really got. It was kind of like how you said about your brother. And then there wasn't their intentions, but they were young. How they shun you off. And it's like, damn, bro, I want to be embraced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to have like, damn, you're my sister. You nice. You incredible, bro. You can play. Niggas fear you. You're a woman. It's like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really get it. So, I had a little resentment early on when I was young. I felt like my dad treated my sister better. But I understood I was young. I understood as I got older that I was young. She was more responsible than me. But as a kid, it's hard for you to tell me that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm probably lacking respect, being responsible and things like that. But I couldn't understand as a child. So as a younger, my sister and I wasn't as close as I would want us to be. And as we got older, that's why I went to a different high school. I told myself I wanted to create my own identity.
Yeah.
I ain't want to. She went to Carver. I'm like, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I went to Walbrook. And that's how I started creating my own identity. Because it was my sister's dream to be a cop. It was never mine. But I became a cop before she did. And sometimes, man, life have a tendency of roles being reversed.
Yeah.
Roles being reversed.
I agree.
And sometimes, as we got older, there was a few other things, man, she did that kind of bothered me. And you know this, I stand on loyalty, bro. Loyalty is everything to me. Piggyback off of that. So not really having the best family structure, I kind of built what I consider family. Wife, this person, that person, you. So I kind of built that. So the fast forward, she did a few things that kind of hurt me. You know what I mean? I'm a prideful person. If I ask for something, that means shit hit the fan. That means I couldn't figure it out. And when I get disappointed with that, and when it happened, that shit bothered me. And sometimes it's hard for me to bounce back into the same vibration we had before when I felt like you did something to wrong me, and we don't right the wrong. See, for me, you got to right the wrong. And that's based off a conversation.
Right. I get what you're
That's
saying.
based off a conversation.
Yeah.
Me and you have
Clear
a
that
misunderstanding.
Clear the air.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
it. And let's just see where we went wrong, and let's move forward. But when you
This episode is brought to you by our sponsors, Cameo Consulting Company, a security agency and private detective agency within the state of Maryland and Washington, D.C., where our goal is to provide outstanding services, protection for our clients, and we are determined to build and establish a relationship within the community and businesses in need of our services. We are also MBE, DBE, and SBE certified through the state of Maryland. The services we provide are bodyguard and asset protection, executive protection, funeral details, patrol services and event security, private investigation, and surveillance. We look forward to providing you with our outstanding services and making your needs our priority. Our Instagram is Cameo Consultant Co. Facebook, Cameo Consultant Company. Our website is www.cameoconsultantco.com. And the phone number to reach us is 443-415-9636.
address it, it kind of caused a division within the relationship. You know what I mean? So, sometimes it's hard to bounce back from that. So,
No doubt.
I think through conversation, and hopefully, people hear the podcast and what's open the doors for a conversation. But I think one of the things that bothered me about that situation was during the time of me buying a new house. And I had and anybody know that was a very important time for me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I think I asked her, I think I had brought it to her attention. I wanted to talk to her. It may be a possibility, it may not. If we need to until the house get ready, 'cause it took about 6 months. Could we possibly stay there?
Mm.
But I'll let you know. And in that time frame, to me personally, bro, she kind of not kind of, she ghosted me. To me, I think she was like she had to talk to her wife. And I ain't never heard back from her. This is at the time we were talking pretty consistent. And throughout the years, me and my sister always had a decent relationship. You know what I mean? It could have been better, but decent. And in that situation right there, bro, it kind of pushed me back. It kind of put me in a place where I wanted to distance myself because I felt like at the time that was the most important to me, you wasn't there when I needed you. And then you come back around when I already moved into the house, we did everything, and then you asking for like, do you need any help? At that time, I ain't gonna need your help. You know what I mean? I felt like I ain't need you.
Well, I mean, we spoke about it, but I think sometimes, I mean, knowing your sister, sometimes people try to avoid confrontation,
Right.
and at times avoiding that confrontation could turn into another thing. But I think
Mhm.
her trying to avoid confrontation and not tell you,
Yeah.
like, yo,
Yeah.
I ain't trying, you know what I mean? I really
Yeah.
don't want,
Yeah.
want you to come, stay over
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's easier to kind of ghost somebody and
Right.
not speak up, try to avoid them
Right.
by all costs
Right.
versus telling them because maybe she knew that you'll feel some type of way about it. Not
Um.
understanding that her ghosting you,
Yeah.
you feel even more type of way about it because now you don't know what the reason was behind it.
I think that she could have been exhausted from her best friend staying there for a while, her sister staying there for a while, and that could have been like a contributing
Her
factor.
sister, or her wife sister?
I'm sorry, yeah,
Yeah, wife sister.
you
Okay.
know what I mean, bro.
No, I
Her
mean,
wife
because you
sister.
said
For the
sister,
viewers,
sister.
correction.
Because you have a sister. You have
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah,
older
yeah, yeah,
sister
yeah.
that we're gonna speak on that in a second, but go ahead.
But her wife's sister stayed there for a while, and she could have been, and they could have been exhausted, right? But once again,
You
that's
felt
based off a conversation. Let's
right,
just
right.
had a conversation and tell me that is the situation, and I
Yeah.
can understand,
Yeah.
right?
And is a lot of times where you want to have those conversations
Yeah.
with the people that you felt like hurt you in the past, and a lot of friendships,
Mhm.
a lot of relationships don't get a chance to have those relationships for so many different reasons.
Right.
Just would rather not. And I think I use the slogan where some things are better left unsaid.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
learning that that only avoids the problem
Mhm.
and makes someone guess what transpired or try to articulate in their own way what
Right.
really happened versus knowing how you felt and how they feel.
Yeah.
So it was just, with that being said, like I was having a conversation with my mom just the other day
Mhm.
because she don't have the best relationships with her siblings.
Right.
And I always say that we don't find out how much we love someone or how much we should have communicated with someone until we crying over their casket.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be at a point, you know, where my relationships involving my siblings where I'm
Mhm.
crying over the casket and regretting why didn't we have those conversations.
Right.
So that's why, it's very big to have the conversation, and to try to get past it and just to try to build an adult relationship like, what me and my brother got going on now. And, even with my sister, man, I love my sister dearly. And I said that before. And I want us to work on our relationship
Yeah.
because it's no bad blood with me and her. She doing her own thing. She working her ass off to fend for her family. So we just never catch up. But I
Mhm.
think one time, myself and my brother and my sister, I just saw it on Facebook. Maybe it was back in 2017, I believe, but I just saw it on my Facebook where we all went down to McCormick and Schmidt. My brother treated us to McCormick and Schmidt, and we sat down, and it was just us without my mother, without my father. You know what I'm saying? Without,
Mhm.
the parents involved. It was just us. And I think sometimes as siblings, you need to get back to it. But I said I was going to touch on a question.
Mhm.
You spoke so much about you and Danielle,
Uh-huh.
but from my recollection, you got an older sister, and
Uh,
you mentioned her slightly,
Right.
but you only mentioned her as far as going to live with your grandmother, and
Yeah.
I heard nothing else. What's the deal with that?
Um, that's a very good question. I think that Me and Dale always been like growing up because we look the same. Some people say we twins, right? Because we have the same mother and father.
The same nose too.
Being professional.
Okay.
Um,
Shout out to Danielle.
shout out to Danny, baby. The last, I mean, and my sister has a different father, same mother. So we always been like handsome and grilling. That's what they used to call us back in the day. I think what happens is though, King, by us being that tight growing up, me and my older sister, which her name Nikki, shout out to Nikki, had a relationship, but it became distance as we got older. I became a cop, and then she went on and did her own thing, and it caused it a distance. Why did it cause a distance? That's a very good question. I think through a lack of
I
communication.
think I met her one time, Jack.
Yeah, we went to the
At a
party.
party.
Yep, we
Yeah,
went to the
yeah. It
party.
was her party, right?
No, it
Oh, it
was
was somebody else
yeah,
party.
yeah, yeah. I think it's my cousin's
Yeah, that was
party.
my first time seeing it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think that due lack of communication. I think that having different of opinions how things should be operated, but it never been really no beef, bro. To be honest with you, it's strictly been
Just don't happen.
it just don't happen. Well,
Yeah.
what happens is, bro, people live their life in a routine, right?
And
So
if they don't include that certain person,
if those people not and consistent of your daily routine, then they don't fall in the you know what I'm saying
and
and
I,
fall in Poland when they don't fall in place because you normally talk to the same people consistently, you do the same thing, and you got to find a rhythm with that person.
it's hard to get back in the rhythm.
Well, it's not hard if you never had it,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah.
if it never really been a rhythm, it's like you got to find a pattern. It has to be like a relationship has to have a balance of both parties meeting in the middle. That way they can exchange energy, right? So it's back and forth, back and forth. So when that situation is not relevant or present, it's kind of you got to find a way to put it in there.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
it's
I mean?
yeah.
Like you and your sister don't talk as much
Uh,
because she's not in the rhythm of it.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
and I mean, no excuse, but it's just like I said, she have
Yeah,
my sister a
yeah,
worker, man. She work a lot. She
yeah,
always
yeah,
worked so
yeah,
hard, so therefore she's always working. And times that I see her is either at Mom Duke's house
yeah,
or my grandmother house at a family function, and it's all love. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's all love. My sister always been like quiet and all that, but I like sometimes her as an adult. She get the cool up in her. She never been crazy, but she just act a little like my sister.
Relax,
Like
relax.
yeah, because she standoffish. She a
Yeah,
standoffish type person, and one would think like a lot of my past relationships, they be like, this sister don't like me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
just
yeah.
how
She,
she
she's in her own world.
yeah, she in her own world, and
Yeah,
it's not, and I think she just give this kind of like I
yeah,
don't fuck with you attitude, but it's really her being shy. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So my
yeah,
sister is a very shy person,
yeah,
but I always would like, I always pray and want our relationship as far as my siblings, just us.
yeah,
You know what I mean? To
yeah,
get so much more, so much better
yeah,
versus talk to my brother here and there, talk to my sister once in a blue moon. I just wish because ultimately, man, you need family. And when it comes down to it, that's all, at times that you have, when things are better left unsaid, that you try to call, that I say, it's really not better left unsaid. It's
right,
better to address it and communicate,
right,
just to get things in line where they should be, because it should be never where we got the same blood running through us and we hardly talk.
yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
mean, but pretty much in a lot of words, what we're saying is that we acknowledge our flaws.
Hmm.
We are work in progress,
Yeah,
and we know the things that we need to do to make the steps to fix things to
yeah,
be better.
absolutely.
Because anything we want, we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
Right?
hold you accountable, and I know you will hold me
For
accountable as
sure,
far
for
as
sure.
that relationship. Because it's crazy, man. You was talking the other day. You said, "Yo, when the last time you talked to your sister?" And I
Mm.
remember I was at a light, and I was like, "I haven't talked to her, but you know what? Let me text her and tell her I love her." And that's
Yeah,
what I did. I
yeah,
texted her like, "Listen, just checking on you. I love you.
yeah, yeah,
Things
yeah,
of that such."
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just one of those things. And now, like I said, as far as the affection thing go, now me and my brother, when we get off the phone, man, I love you. I tell him I love him back, or vice
okay,
versa.
okay,
And it's just all love. But
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
sometimes it's just trying to get that back together.
Rebuilding the foundation.
It's kind of tough when you used to
Yeah,
living a certain way,
yeah,
and now just
yeah,
trying to make that adjustment. It just
yeah,
feel weird.
yeah. It's a work in progress,
It
and
is.
we're just trying to find a way to build a brick by brick a day. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
brick
saying?
by brick.
Brick by brick, brick a
Hmm.
day. You know what I mean? But if you're watching a podcast We touched on the free topics.
Yeah.
Child upbringing. We dived in a little bit of that, and also relationships, man. And sometimes we realize and we think we have time,
Mhm.
but we don't have time.
We don't.
Right? Time is your time. All depends how you utilize it.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can have more, you can have less. Depends how much time you waste or how much time you utilize. Right? So for us, we want to make sure that we utilize our time wisely, especially with some of the relationships that we need to refix, rebuild, or reconnect.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean,
So
I agree. I mean, I think it's just creating a distance. You know, it's time to bring them closer. You know what I mean? Bring your family closer. The way things are happening tragically these days. Again, you don't want to be that person that's crying over the casket.
mm,
Wishing that person was here for you to solve y'all issues
mm,
or speak about how y'all could be better towards each other.
right.
So just make sure you lock in. I'm gonna hold you accountable because I'm sure you're gonna hold us accountable.
For
I'm
sure.
definitely gonna hold you accountable.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, like you said it like you were trying to say something.
no, I mean, I'm just gonna hold you accountable. But
Oh, okay.
speaking of that, holding somebody accountable, man. How we gonna hold this NBA Finals thing accountable? You know what I mean? I see that they fired New York Knicks coach,
Got
so
him
he
out
out of
of
there, got him out of
there.
there.
Got him out of there.
But we need to see. We ain't too much worried about that. I mean, I think it was a lot of fans would say it's well deserved because some of the decisions I felt like he made
Mm.
during the playoffs run, it kind of hurt the team.
Like what?
So just playing your players till they was fucking tired
I mean,
to the
who?
point where they couldn't because they had no bench.
So,
Or even I felt like he was more concerned, like even PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker played once, and that was like for the last like 2 or 3 minutes of one of the games where they blew somebody out. But I just think utilizing what you need just to give somebody a break. And I
mm.
felt like he didn't do it as much. He didn't include them in the game. But besides that, how we looking for the finals? NBA
Hey,
finals
listen,
start
man.
tomorrow.
I'm a hit you with my man Cam said. The Knicks be nicking. Okay. No matter you got Michael Jordan, LeBron, the Knicks be
It's like
nicking.
it's like the Wizards.
The Knicks be nicking.
Mhm.
It don't matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can fire him. Who you gonna hire? Who next? I'm asking. Who next? If you were the GM of the Knicks, who you getting?
I got a feeling they go for Malone. The Joker and them. I mean, he won a championship with
Okay.
with them, so I think Malone might be. I wouldn't imagine them. I mean, them saying that they looking at him.
Yeah.
Malone is out there. Who
Right.
else? They can't bring Phil Jackson back out of retirement.
What you think about Mark?
Um, Mark Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't see them doing it.
Okay.
I would love to see him get a coaching job.
Right.
Just but I don't see it, and it is always something where it doesn't matter if you could take them closer to the finals, your job still could be in jeopardy. So
The
if they
Knicks
did
be
that to
nicking,
him, what
man.
makes you think they're gonna do it with Mark?
The Knicks be nicking.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
about who you get.
Yeah.
So the final, who you got?
I'm gonna go with man. I like OKC, man. I'm a big fan.
When did you become a big fan?
I'm a big fan
Because
of
you be
Shea.
hopping on bandwagon,
But
boy.
but you know what?
So
I'm a
when you become a big fan though, because I ain't never hear you talk about SGA.
well.
So
Oh,
now you
I'm
gonna
a
go
fan of him this year.
okay,
Yes,
yeah,
I'm a fan
yeah.
of him this year.
You're a Wild West type
I'm a,
nigga.
I'm a fan. I'm a
You
fan of him this year. But yo, one thing we ain't speak on was your boy thought he was gonna get
the
the
final.
final, the
You
East
think
Conference
you
Finals
think he should have
MVP.
got it?
Nah, he showed some inconsistency at the end, man. He showed some inconsistency at the end of that series, man. And I really was upset with him because I thought that he was like the momentum was on him, and he was out of it.
Nah, I mean, he had one game. He only had 8.
No, I think he had two inconsistent games. Even that last game. That last game wasn't
He had 30.
no, he ain't had 30 the
I mean, he
last
had
game when they
24.
won.
I mean, yeah, he had at least
I
even
know
double
the
digits.
game. I know the game prior to that he had
30 something. He had
the
a triple
triple
double.
double.
Okay, the game before that he had 8, and this one he had 20 something points.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Siakam had 30.
they did my man like how they did
Oh.
Boston. They did him the same way, yo.
So you said he didn't deserve it.
Um,
Siakam deserved it.
no, I think at some point he did deserve, it, but maybe they feel like
Who?
Siakam. I think he deserved
He
it.
deserved. Okay, Halliburton did deserve it.
Halliburton, we're gonna see what they do in the finals.
I don't think you could have. To me
Could have
personally,
went either way.
if I'm him, I'm giving that much energy to get the finals MVP. That's cool. But let me get the finals MVP.
You think they
though.
did it to put fire under his ass?
No, I think they gave it to nigga who deserved it.
Oh,
You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
okay.
That's like that year with Steph Curry didn't win it and Iguodala did.
Mm.
Did he deserve it? He was the finals MVP.
Right.
Yeah. So I get what you did the last few games, but what you do in this game.
Yeah, no doubt.
But back to the predictions, who you got?
I'm gonna go with OKC.
Give me a prediction. What is going to be?
I think it's gonna go to 7. No, I don't even think it's gonna go to 7. I think it's gonna go to 6.
So what you get? So you giving it 4-2?
Yeah, I'm giving it 4 too.
It's gonna go to 7.
Oh, okay.
I go 4-3. Okay.
All right. Well, listen, we
Yeah.
appreciate y'all checking in. We want y'all to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
One more time.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
You did good, yo.
I got that one right now.
Got it right, dumb.
But listen, we want y'all to check in. We want y'all to also leave comments. So what y'all think? Because we're thinking about changing this thing just a little bit. We know y'all enjoy the Sprinter van.
Yeah.
But, we might start bringing a couple people on board so they can be in tune without bullshit. What you think?
I think a lot of people got a lot of things to offer.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying?
You cool with that?
But leave in comments what you think about childhood upbringing. What some of the things you experienced, right? What some things that affect you, and what relationships you had with your siblings that you feel can be better, or is it great, or what things you can change.
Listen, the only thing we gotta say is make it right. Until next time, episode 11 coming up.
Hit the subscribe button, baby. Hit the subscribe button.
People hate when they elevate. Two former cops turn the mics into the heavyweight. Lew and Los